What's good, YouTube? This is going to be a natal chart analysis for your girl, Greta Thunberg. Shout out to my homegirl, Karen. This was her idea for me to do this video. I love you, boo-boo. Um, but let's just get into it, yo. So if you don't know who Greta Thunberg is, if you've been sleeping under a rock recently, you didn't get to see her TED Talk. I think it was like the end of last year. Greta Thunberg is this little teenage little girl. She was born in 2003. She's 16 years old. She's tiny. She looks even younger than that. And she's an environmentalist. She's an activist. She has been going on this tour of being the voice of this younger generation. She's a Pluto and Sagittarius kid. She's of that generation that doesn't give a fuck. They are not going to abide by the system. They are here to destroy the system. More so the Pluto and Capricorn kids that come after her. Capricorn's the sign of government. Pluto's the sign of death and destruction. Those kids are going to destroy the system. So she is kind of the first wave of that as a Pluto. Really, us Pluto and Scorpio people brought that in. For us, it was sex, things considered taboo, the occult. We kind of flip the switch on that. Then the Pluto and Sag kids come in, then Pluto and Cap. We're all kind of working in tandem. But anyway, so she's been on this message of, the people in charge are fucking up. They're ignoring the science. The science is right here. I'm giving it to you. We have to take action now, or we're going to completely fuck up this planet, which we have already done to an extent. I strongly encourage that you watch her TED Talk. You can go on YouTube, Greta Thunberg, TED Talk, if not that, definitely watch her speech from the other day. Very encouraging. It's a little bit shorter than the TED Talk, but the TED Talk is fantastic. Honestly, I encourage you to watch all of her speeches. Like, I literally cry when I watch this little girl speak, because just the fact that that type of soul and energy is here in that young body is encouragement for me. It makes me, it lets me know that what I already know is coming, the 2020s, but all of the astrologers are calling the great transformation. When we see people like that, it's like, okay, shit, it's here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's coming. We got this. Help is on the way, and that we've got to replace all of these old dinosaurs that only care about capitalism and money with these young people who are going to come in with new ideas and radicalized, mindsets in terms of taking action and righting all the wrongs that all of these old white men in suits have done for years and years and years. That's the age that we live in right now. We're going to have to pick up the mantle and really change this world. The 2020s are going to force us into that, so the 2020s, Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto are going to be conjunct for the first time since the 800s. And in the 800s, humans invented the first clocks. That's when we started keeping time. That's basically when this matrix was formed. Everything in this system that we live in is predicated off of time. So it's almost like those energies coming together in Capricorn, the sign of society, government, structure. There's going to be something new that comes into the fold that changes how we do all of those things. So that could be a collapse of the banking system. That could be aliens coming and revealing themselves. Is that really so out of the question with the fact that this past year alone, it's almost been like every week there's a new UFO story in the news. There's a new Navy pilot, a new credible witness and eyewitness account of a UFO. All of these things are really revving up to where it's going to happen. We're going to have that concrete day where everything just changes. There's some level of disclosure. Maybe it's not, ooh, aliens are here, but it could be something along the lines of, ooh, we did discover these ancient things couldn't have been built with the technology that they had. You know, these are things that we know already as people, and even people that are skeptics, they have to know, because we didn't have the technology to build the pyramids. So how the fuck did they get there? Like, how could you even try to use academia to explain the origin of so many different things in this world that don't make sense without some type of interference? So something like that is coming, something to where we acknowledge the fact that we know a lot more about the history of this planet than we've been taught in textbooks. You know, they have been hiding so much architecture, so much like archaeological findings from us. There are stories of giant skeletons all over the world that they've been hiding at the Smithsonian, like hoards and keep secret. There's actually a lot of whistleblowers and things online, you know, and you always lose people at aliens and giant skeletons and all of that. But the truth is this world is really fucking crazy, and it's a lot different than what we've been taught. There's a lot of things that have happened here on this planet. There are a lot of unseen things that we have no concept of, you know, unless we go and seek those things out on our own, you know. So we're getting there. You know, there's still a lot of skeptics in 2019, people that don't believe in astrology. And yet it's like, here I am, I've done hundreds and hundreds of readings, all of which these clients can corroborate the fact that I looked at their natal chart without meeting them and knowing them, and I knew so much about who they were, what they've experienced, etc., etc. That stuff is going to be harder to ignore in the near future. So Greta Thunberg, being that she's so much Capricorn, she is going to be part of the group that really ushers in that energy and activates that cardinality of Capricorn and that change that is coming. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to look at her chart and just highlight a few different things in here that really stand out to me. So boom, this is Greta Thunberg's chart. She's a Taurus rising, which makes a lot of sense. Taurus is the sign of the earth. It's an earth sign. She loves the earth, obviously. You know, if you listen to her speech, she talks about how much she loves the earth. She talks about how she feels like she is responsible for saving it because no one else will. Very, very Taurus. Interestingly enough, someone who had a brain similar to this girl was Nikola Tesla, who changed the entire fucking globe with his mind. He was a Taurus rising as well. You know, so these are people that shape the earth. You know, these are people that are so impactful that they can change the very foundations of the earth, which is what Taurus rules. It rules the roots, you know, the bedrock, what is deep embedded into the soil. That's why you Tauruses are so damn slow. Y'all take forever to do everything. It's because you guys are very grounded, like very grounded, like attached to the ground, roots deep, deep down. You know, you guys are the sign most resistant to change as a result. So, boom. Now, moving forward, she's got North Node in the second house in Gemini. Anytime North Node is in Gemini, that has to do with speaking, with communicating, with articulating. So right away, that lets you know that she has a purpose in terms of speaking, you know, which we've seen from her, obviously. That's crystal clear. But then the fact that she has Saturn and Gemini in this house, retrograde, this is a very interesting placement to me. And to me, wherever Saturn is in your chart, it's where your karma is. It is where you're going to face a lot of challenges and restrictions. Okay, so Gemini is the sign of communication. She has communication issues. She's got Asperger's. She doesn't like to speak unless it is 100% necessary. Even though she's an incredible speaker, she just doesn't do it socially. You know, so Saturn in Gemini is going to represent someone who has some of these issues, especially because she has Pluto in the 8th house directly opposite that Saturn. So it tells you that she gets really intense and in her head when it comes to communicating, especially as a Capricorn moon, Mercury, Sun, MC, Chiron, Childs, all of this Capricorn energy. It's going to make her very stubborn. It's going to make her someone who doesn't want to speak unless they have to. It's almost like you have to prove worthy of her time, literally. That is how that Capricorn energy plays out. And especially with this aspect from Saturn and Gemini, you know, restricting some of her words, bringing up some blockages and some intensity surrounding what she says, how she says it. She's someone who, if she doesn't really believe strongly in what she's saying, then there's no point. You know, she's very black and white. She doesn't have sarcasm. Okay, so moving forward, you get Jupiter and Leo in the fourth house. This is someone who's supposed to be on stage, front and center. Okay, even though this is in the fourth house, you know, you get a lot of vibes from her mom in this. And there's been a lot of talk about her mom being kind of a negative influence on her life. You know, but I think with this Jupiter and Leo, even though there are some negative aspects here, I feel like her mom definitely has her best interest at heart. You know, they're just all learning and going through a very new experience together. Um, so, you know, Jupiter is squaring Mars, it's squaring Venus. So I'm feeling like she's definitely going to have some struggles in terms of dating and relationships as she gets older. You know, she might not find the time for it, or she might struggle to find people that have as much depth and substance as she does. She's got Scorpio on the seventh house. That shows that literally for her to be in a relationship, in a partnership, that person has to feel like a soulmate for her. It has to be that type of a connection, that deep, intense, penetrating connection that goes beneath the surface. There are no boundaries between the two of you. You've just molded and blended together. You know, that sounds gross to me. Even though I'm a Scorpio rising, I have a lot of Capricorn energy. I don't want to be on top of someone 24/7. Even though my partner is a Libra and he can do that sometimes, but I love him. Anyway, so boom, you know, you got Mars and Venus in that seventh house, looking at Jupiter. And the seventh house rules the public. It rules business dealings, law, as well as partnership. So this can definitely show that friction between the mother and the public and the media and the things that they're saying about her. You know what I mean? But let's move back to just kind of Greta and her energy. There's a lot more here to just kind of cover and look into. So the most important thing in her chart, well, the two most important things. For one, all this energy in Capricorn, okay? She's a Capricorn stellium. Capricorns are the builders of the zodiac, the builders of society. Big dick energy, big boss archetype energy, calling the shots, making the plans, all of that, you know? So Capricorn in the ninth house is all about truth, enlightenment, okay? This girl is literally here to spread the truth about the system, Capricorn, about the structure, Capricorn, the government, Capricorn, the corrupt men in suits that run everything in this capitalist-centric way. Okay, that's what she is here to tackle. That's what she is here to bring light to. You know, so her MC is here, conjunct her sun and conjunct her Chiron. This is some shit, y'all. So the MC is your furthest projection out into the world. It's what people are going to know you for when it's all said and done. The sun is your ego, your expression, your soul, like you, essentially. So whenever someone's sun is on their MC, that is going to be an extremely famous person. A celebrity, a professional athlete, a musician, an actor. an activist, a president, you know, someone that is very, very visible. Okay. Everyone is looking at them, you know, because the sun is a light, it's a big light, and she has her big light on her career, her status, her projection out into the world. Okay. So now you add in Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron is associated with where we all have a wound that we must try to heal. And with trying to heal that wound, we learn how to help and heal others. Okay, so she is someone with Asperger's. She is someone who had a very, very deep, dark depression earlier on in her life. I think she said when she was 11, she stopped talking for like a year or two. This is very, really heavy, serious stuff for a little girl, but this is not a normal little girl. You know, this is not a little girl inside of that body. This is totally like an ascended being sent here with a very specific and clear purpose. You know, this is someone that the earth chose to come and speak for her. The earth weeps right now, you know, with all of this pollution and all of this Wi-Fi, the food that we're eating. The earth is our mother. She doesn't want to see us suffering and having diabetes and cancer and all of this shit associated with the food that they poison us with. You know what I'm saying? So the earth's immune system are people. People are the earth's immune system. Just like we have an immune system, you know, have you ever seen the movie Osmosis Jones? They go up in that person's body and all the cells are like little people living in a place. Well, we are little people living on this giant organism as well. And we have a role to fill. We are the earth's immune system. Okay, but this girl is like, she's like a white blood cell. Like, she ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, she over here, she ready to knock out all the bacteria, all of the grime, all the dust. She's trying to get rid of all the corrupt people who are plaguing this planet, all the cancers on this planet, all the men in suits, you know, all the people on Wall Street, the world banking system, you know, the 1% of the 1%, essentially. So yeah, you know, she's here to spill that truth about all of that Capricornian energy. She's really about that. And with Chiron, the wounded healer here, the fact that she's gone through all of those situations that she had to heal, now she's trying to heal the world. Literally, she's trying to heal the earth. Capricorn, earth. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't make this up. Literally, just the fact that she's got these three things right on top of each other: Sun, MC, Chiron, and Capricorn in the 9th fucking house. Like, it's so cliche for who she is and what she's doing. Like, I'm mad that I even looked at her chart without just trying to guess, because I feel like I would have put a lot of these planets in her 9th house. You know, especially Chiron, especially Mercury. But even just Sun and Moon and Cap on her MC, like, this is serious stuff, you guys. This is a very special natal chart. Everyone's natal chart is special. Everyone is special. Everyone is a reflection of the all, you know, of source. Everyone is a version and a rendition of that. So we're all beautiful, but there are some people that just have more. You know what I'm saying? Think about like Michael Jackson. You know, if you believe those allegations and you're offended by this, I'm sorry. I like don't really, but also I don't know what to believe. So Michael Jackson, man, his music is incredible. But Michael Jackson, clearly not a normal fucking person. Like, who can sing and dance like that and has the weird, like the crazy, weirdest voice in the world, and just like everything about him was just so just different and extra. You know what I'm saying? Beyonce, Prince, Whitney Houston. Why am I putting Beyonce in a category with all dead people? That's probably not cool. Kanye West, even, you know, I know a lot of people hate him, whatever. I understand him because I've seen his chart, you know. He's just an unstable person. All the talent in the world, though, but these are people who just have more. You can see it in their charts. You can see the people who are supposed to influence millions of people, so this is a special natal chart, that we're looking at right here. All this ninth house energy. Her chart really reminds me a lot of Nikola Tesla. Because his chart just shows you like this was this beautiful man who really just wanted to make the world a better place. This girl is also very that. Now let's look at her 10th house. She's got Dejanira in her 10th house. Dejanira 157 is an asteroid, and it is associated with abuse. It's associated with being a victim in a situation. Wherever it is in your chart shows where you can become a victim. Aquarius, the sign of technology. Uranus, the planet of technology, of science. Whenever someone has Uranus and Aquarius, that's scientist energy. Okay, that is someone who can give you all the data real quick like she did in her TED Talk and sound like a 50-year-old scientist. Meanwhile, this is a 16-year-old girl. Like, what the hell? It is insane to watch this little girl speak. Like, whew, what the hell was I doing at 16? I was playing basketball and like picking my nose. Anyway, so when you have Dejanira in your 10th house, it shows that you can become a victim through your career, through work, through your projection out into the world. This is a sign of science. She can become a victim because of the science, because of who she's trying to take down and go against. You know what I'm saying? She's putting a target on herself. If she continues to grow and grow and grow, they're going to see her as a really big threat. And, she's going to make a lot of enemies. She's got Neptune in this house. Neptune is the planet of media, of illusion, of deception. That is totally the energy of this house, is what is happening to her as a result of sharing this message. People are running her through the mud on social media. Shitty people, Trump supporting people, those types of closed-minded people that can't fucking think for themselves. Those are the people that are trolling her right now. Because how could you troll a fucking 16-year-old girl with Asperger's who is giving the most passionate and well-articulated speech literally since Obama was president? You know what I'm saying? Like, girl, people drive me nuts. But that is the energy of this house, and it makes me feel bad for her because she's going to go through a lot of situations in her life. She doesn't get to be a normal little girl. That was never in the cards for this child. That was never, ever, ever in the cards for this child. She was going to blow up when she did, no matter what. And we're going to look at exactly how and why, why I'm saying that. So we're going to look at her solar return charts. One more thing, when somebody has Mars and Venus in Scorpio, that is a very pure person. Venus is your ideals. Mars is your sex drive, your fire, your energy. When it's in Scorpio, the sign of transformation, they are constantly transforming. You're bringing death and rebirth to them all the time. So because you attract that transformation, you can end up being some of the most pure souls in the world because you bring your energy through the fire and purify it constantly. Mars and Venus are the planets that can really lead you astray. You can have a fuckboy Mars. You can have a very materialistic Venus like I do. It's conjunct Neptune and Capricorn. Send me designer handbags. Send me designer shoes. Like, I'm down for all that. But yeah, Mars and Venus in Scorpio, anytime I see that, I know that this is like a pure and beautiful soul. This is someone who has a good heart, who cares for people. They desire close intimacy with people. They want to make very close friendships. They want it to be pure and authentic and real. You know what I'm saying? So yes, let's move Sorry, I keep seeing more things. Whenever someone's sun and moon are so close together, they're in the same sign, they're conjunct, that means that the person's inner and outer natures are aligned. They're one and the same. So it makes a very direct person who knows who the fuck they are, knows what they want, knows how to express what they want and do it. This is not an indecisive individual when the sun and the moon come together. When the sun and the moon come together, it's somebody who knows what they're here for. They have a very specific purpose. They're very aligned to that purpose. You know, um, Typically it's easier for them to function as beings because they're not having to balance themselves. They're not like me. I'm a Capricorn sun in an air house in the third house of Gemini, and then I'm a Gemini moon in the eighth house, a water house. None of those things are comfortable, so I am constantly battling that and balancing that. Whereas for her, those main energies are very much in positive, they're working together. Not only that, but all of this energy in her ninth house trines her ascendant, positive aspect. So with that being said, her three biggest energies are all functioning together. They're all working together, all in very good harmony to one another. So it makes her an individual who is not very confused. She knows what she wants. She knows what she's here for. Now, this is her solar return chart for last year. So it started on her last birthday, January 3rd, 2018. And it ended, 1 year later. So this is the beginning of the year where she had that TED Talk. So boom, you see Scorpio rising right away. There's purity in there. There's authenticity, there's passion. Ninth house Cancer moon. She wants to share truth. The ninth house is the house of truth. She really desires sharing that truth that she knows about this planet and where we're going. It's very important to her to share that. Ninth house moons are also very intuitive, very spiritual. So I feel like a lot of this is coming from a higher up place for her. She's being guided and directed in a lot of this energy and a lot of these efforts. Mars in the first house is always going to be someone who's extremely driven. Okay, so in this solar return, she's got all the firepower in the world. She's ready to communicate and articulate matters pertaining to government. She's got Lilith conjunct her sun, you guys. Lilith shows this dark spot, this vengeful spot that we all have as a result of what society does to us. She literally is going around talking about, how much she hates the way that they are doing things, how much she hates what capitalism is doing to this planet. She talks about how it's all about money for them and how they should be ashamed of themselves. She's disgusted by what is going on in this world, and she's speaking about it. Speaking, third house. Lilith, shows that disgust and anger and frustration with government, with the system, with society, Capricorn, and she's speaking about it. Saturn is there, so this is karmic. She feels like she has to speak about it. She knows that she has to speak about it. It's just her time, period. Now, let's see here. We get North Node is conjunct Ceres in this chart. So North Node is all about your purpose. Ceres is all about mothering. So she is kind of like a mothering archetype, at least in that she's fighting for Mother Earth and she's trying to advocate for other people to fight for Mother Earth, Now let's move to this year though, because this year's solar return chart is like where most of the tea is happening for her. And this is like a really crazy solar return. So this is right now. This is that speech that she just had. This is more or less the energy of her TED Talk, if I remember correctly. More or less. She's a Capricorn. Obviously, solar return, you're always going to be the same sun sign. A solar return chart is cast for the very precise second that the sun reaches the exact point to the second in the sky that it was the very second you were born and took your first breath. So that essentially is your portal. That is your opening. That's the vessel that you incarnated into this world with. So when the sun reaches that point again, it recalibrates itself. It's like downloading a new software update. It might sound silly if you're not someone who practices this, but you can literally go back in your life and literally see everything that has happened to you. For instance, when I was 4, Pluto crossed over my ascendant, and I had that in my first house in a solar return. My parents got divorced during that time. My family split. Everything about my life and what I knew had changed during that time. Pluto is death and rebirth. The ascendant is your body, your personality, the most basic traits and tangible traits of who you are. So that's a cliche of how my solar return affected me. A lot of times when people get married, they've got Jupiter in their 7th house solar return. A lot of times, let's say someone signs this really big deal and they open a new business, North Node in the 10th house solar return. Okay, so now this solar return, think about this. This girl's traveling the world, she's speaking, talking about environmental issues, etc. So Saturn is conjunct her sun. So that's showing you that there is this heavy karmic sense of responsibility on her. She's not having fun right now, like at all. She doesn't like doing this. She has to do it. She knows that this is her purpose in life. I wouldn't be surprised if she's very spiritual, low key. She probably won't talk about that much because they know that will give people the opportunity to gaslight her more. What makes her so great is the fact that she knows the science very well. She's credible. She's basically a 16-year-old scientist. Like, this girl's very, very smart. So, boom. All of that happening in the first house, very difficult, death and rebirth, restriction, challenges, becoming a victim, people lashing out at her for being who she is and speaking and doing what she's doing. Okay. Neptune in the 3rd house of communication really makes me feel like her words are divinely guided to some effect right now. She's a vessel of the universe. She's speaking for a higher up place. She's speaking to rally and wake people up and be that catalyst for what is coming. We're moving into a new age, the age of Aquarius. We're also moving into a new era astrologically with, some of these other things that are happening with this grand conjunction. Just lots of different moving parts that are happening right now. So with that, look at this 12th house, you guys. Anytime someone has their MC in the 12th house, their midheaven in the 12th house, to me, that represents having a purpose and a mission that is very much above you. It's coming from a higher up place. It's coming from, her spiritual team and whoever sent her here to carry this mission out. The 12th house is the house of the hereafter, the unseen. It's a spiritual realm. When your MC is there, it shows that your career, your path, what you're projecting out into the world is guided by those unseen forces. Jupiter is there. Jupiter is in the 12th house, represents a guardian angel. It represents a spiritual team, a dead loved one who has passed on, someone, something that is watching over you and helping you. We all kind of have that to an extent, but when you've got Jupiter in the 12th house, shout to the 777 show streaming on all platforms. Witch Dr. Alex at Witch Dr. Alex on Instagram. It's a podcast that he started that I have the pleasure of being on, and we just talked about this earlier today, how Jupiter in the 12th house is like a guardian angel, and if you have this placement, you can get in an accident, a car accident with 5 other people, right? You'll be the one that survives. Everyone else can die. You'll be the one that makes it out because you have this hidden, unseen force that is pulling for you. Now, when your moon is in the 12th house, you can access your 12th house a little bit more. This is a very psychic placement, moon in the 12th house. Some people would say that it is the most psychic placement. I don't necessarily ascribe to that, only because I've seen in my practice other things more so. But I feel like that's probably because I personally have not come across a shit ton of moon in the 12 houses. Maybe if you're a moon in the 12th house, you don't really need an astrology reading all that much, maybe. But I have some clients that are 12th house moons. But anyway, part of fortune in the 12th house. Part of fortune is how you have fun in life. What makes you have fun? It's hidden from her. It's in her 12th house. She's not having fun right now. She's on a school strike. She ain't with her friends. She's speaking with old people on TV shows. She's not having a good time, but she knows that this is what she's supposed to be doing. Persephone is here conjunct her part of fortune in this 12th house. She feels a little bit forced into this. She feels like her hand is being pushed for her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she essentially doesn't have a say in this. She knows that this is her destiny and her purpose. Even as a 16-year-old kid, she's aware of that. So after this year, though, things kind of chill for her a little bit more. She's still going to be in the public eye. She's still going to be speaking and doing her thing. But I do see her taking some time to kind of be a person. This chart to me isn't as visible as the previous 2 have been. So I think she, continues this year out, maybe a little bit into next year, but I think things are going to calm down for her a little bit, which I think is good. I think she should go to school and learn and really cultivate her mind, because that is a priceless brain that she has. I don't want her to stop doing what she's doing, though. I want her to speak as often and as loudly as she can, because she has a message that everyone needs to fucking hear. Like, it is time right now. Right now is the time. There are people in this world who don't care how many people die so that they can get a little bit more richer. With money that they're never even going to use in their lifetime, with money that they don't need. That's worth more to them than our lives. They feed us garbage because it's cost effective. They put pollutants in the air and in our water because it feeds the pharmaceutical companies. This entire matrix is predicated on using and abusing us, okay? Slavery never ended. It just turned into a much, much more ferocious beast. That's what we're dealing with right now. This is the solution. These young kids and us, we have to harbor these kids. These kids are going to be the ones that have the energy to really bring the change. We have to teach them. We have to teach them about spirituality. We're their mentors. Okay, the Pluto and Scorpio people have to mentor the Pluto and Sag kids. Okay, and then those kids have to mentor the next generation, and so on and so forth. We are all working in tandem to raise the level of the collective frequency on this planet and to save our Mother Earth. Like, she is weeping. She doesn't like all this Wi-Fi. She doesn't like all of the drilling. How much oil are we taking? How much are we taking and not reciprocating and giving anything back? That is what we're fighting right now. That is what people like Greta Thunberg are, out here doing, out here advocating for. So, ultimately, with that being said, I think this is probably where I'm going to wrap up for the day. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, that's probably where I'm going to wrap up for the day. So if you guys have any other ideas in terms of videos that you would like me to do, charts you would like me to read, I'm definitely down to do that. I just realized that there is one really important thing that I kind of left out of this. So I'll just add it really, really quick. So essentially, I didn't look at her transits. So boom, this is her natal chart. Saturn and Pluto are transiting, you know, this major epicenter of her energy. Her stellium is literally being lit up by all the energies that we've all been talking about for the last year, with all the malefics in Capricorn. Right now, Venus is squaring that energy as well. You know, Venus is squaring Pluto right now, and that is triggering all of this energy for her. You know, so this situation, it doesn't feel good for her. She doesn't feel great with what she's doing. I don't think she feels like, oh, I'm a little girl and I've been on TV and I travel the world. Oh, my parents are proud. This is not that. Like, this little girl is not going to be happy until she changes the world. Like, 100%. This girl is not going to stop until she feels satisfied, like she was able to impart change, and she sees other people, you know, picking that message up and carrying the totem pole for her. So she ain't going nowhere. She's gonna be in the game for a while. Uranus is in her first house now for the next several years, so she's gonna be real rebellious with it. She's not afraid of anyone. She's not gonna back down. You know what I'm saying? Like, this girl is the real deal. So I'm going to end that here for today. Again, you can follow me on Instagram at Virg the Astrologer. You can follow me, you can email me at virgtheastrologer@gmail.com. Also follow me on Twitter at The Verge of Astrology. So I hope all of you guys are doing well. Saturn and Pluto just went direct, is squaring Venus. A lot of people are having relationship issues right now. If you guys are interested in booking a reading with me, you can DM me on Instagram. You can email me at virgtheastrologer@gmail. You can also go to my website at virgtheastrologer.strikingly.com. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will be back on here with you guys soon. Peace.